A canvas black with whispers gold, stories untold, secrets unfold, diamonds scatter where the shadows sleep, infinite skies, a promise to keep. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting galaxies were like painted streams, brushing the edges of our dreams. Planets hum their silent tune, chasing the sun, kissing the moon. We look but don't see, we forget to believe. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting nebulous bloom in colors untamed, every spark of fire unclaimed, hidden glory just out of sight, a quiet roar in the endless night. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting shade, a fleeting
Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome, welcome. It is Mark D'Antonio here with SkyTour Livestream, and I just started up. Everything was just great, and then I lost connection to all the cameras. So you're going to be with me through a bit of troubleshooting. I'm actually going to restart this computer out there, and let's see if that fixes it. So the screen's going to go blank for a bit. I'm going to stay. And then when it comes back, we should see if we get our connection back. If we don't, boy oh boy, that would just be a disappointment, won't it? All this build up and then nothing. Anyway, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming out. Welcome Sally Forth. Hi there, Sally Forth. Nice to see you. Star Panda, of course. Michael Hedrick, Donald Kunzer, Sam S, Tim F, Kathy Messick, Lori at LDP. Nice to see you as well. Hope it's not for nothing. Donald Kunzer's with us. Okay. Keith Evans, what's going on, brother? Galactic Volcano, how you doing? And I'm going to just be going back and checking. Okay, so the computer is back up. All right. Oh, no, it's not. I'll restart anyway. Yeah, I've got a couple problems there. And now we're going to restart the computer. And good. So our session goes black for a moment. And as we're waiting, I'll come back. And let's see. Karen Belmont's with us. Hey there, Karen. And that's it so far. So it's not Starlink. It's actually there's some kind of connection problem with the USB to the cameras out there. But many times, believe it or not, rebooting will fix it. So I'm trying the old reboot trick. Okay, it's back up. You get to watch the whole startup process. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so let's see if this works. If not, I'm going to have to try something different. We'll have to see what happens here. Okay, first things first. Let's bring up our cameras so we can see what's going on out there. All right, you're going to get to see something else too, because I'm out in Connecticut. And these cameras coming up are going to be the cameras in the building. This is my house here in Connecticut right now. Look at all that snow, 1.5 feet. Okay, and so these two guys are the ones we want. Bring these up like that, and we'll put this one up here. No, what are you doing? Move this one up here, and then move this one up here. So we have those on the screen so we can reference what the telescope's doing. And then we bring this guy up. This is looking at the roof right now. It's going to be looking inside when we take the roof off. All right, so first things first, we come back in. All right, this is the program I wrote, and we're going to take the roof off. There it goes. Bye-bye. And we can look down inside now and check out the telescope. Parked and hiding, and we're going to turn on the systems. And okay, so we now have power to the system. You can see the blinky light on top. And now I'm going to just go right over here to the program that's supposed to capture the cameras, and let's see if we got our cameras back. If we did, we continue as if nothing happened. That looks promising, and we got them back. Okay, good. So SkyTour livestream will continue for tonight, unless we have this problem again. So we got all our connections going there. I'm going to bring up our guiding system, and we're going to connect all objects here, connect all the hardware. There we go. Good. All right, and then I'm going to unpark the telescope, all right, and move it to the home position. So there we go, and off it goes. This happens once in a while. I don't know why it happens. I haven't been able to identify why. But I tried to work out ways to troubleshoot from long distance, being that I'm 2,600 miles from that telescope right now. And you got to think, you got to wonder, if you think about it, holy cow, oh man, this is one of those things where you have to be really brave to open up a roof 2,600 miles away and start using a telescope and hope that nothing goes wrong, right? And so far, so good. The telescope seems to be operating perfectly. I haven't had very many problems. The only problems I've had are like what you just saw. So let's bring these guys out, and we're going to put them in their place. This one here can go down here. I'll put this one down here, and then we'll move the telescope directional location one. I'll put that here. Actually, I'm going to put it up here for now, because you'll see why in a sec. I'm going to size it. Thank you guys for being patient. And that's where we want to be, right there. And then I can bring this one down, and then bring this one down. And now I've got my setup. There's my startup setup right there. Okay, we can do this, and I can move this over just, actually, bring it up a little more, and move it over right there, and go. All right. So, we are back to normal. All right, so let's do this. Let's first of all, let's check out our view here. It's set for 120 seconds, which is ridiculous. That's a wrong startup. It's supposed to be 1 second. Okay, and that's a little more like it. And then you get these stars, and it's set at 100 gain. We're going to be at 200 gain. Okay, and that'll put us here. And I'll tell you what's going on out there. We actually, it was totally clear all day, and then tonight, of course, from the west, a long line of high altitude clouds has shown up. But as I say, the show must go on. I'm going to do what I can and present what I can. So what we'll do is the next step here is to bring up this guy here. This is our planetarium, which connects to the telescope, and you can see the movement there. There's wind blowing the telescope a little bit right now, a little bit. It's supposed to calm down, but we're gonna see, aren't we? Okay, here we are. Now we're gonna turn on the telescope connection right here. Let's do that. There we go. Connect telescopes. They're all connected now. And then, all right, yeah, it looks nice out there now. So let's take ourselves over to the Orion Nebula right off the bat. Let's just see what happens. Okay, there we go. You can see the telescope moving like it should. Wow. Yeah, that's right, Lori. The comfy chair. Cardinal Richelieu, fetch the comfy chair. Oh, this is rather nice afternoon. Oh yeah, very funny. Here comes our telescope. And we should see the Orion Nebula pull into view here. And if we don't, it's only because we had that little glitch earlier. I think it's just out of the view. But I can actually try and do this. Let's see if I can tell it to reset and figure out where it is. It may not have enough stars. It didn't, so I will do a 5 second at 200 gain. That's good. 5 second shot. And that 5 second shot, I will do this. Oh, you got a couple satellites. See that? You know what those are? Those are not actually satellites that are moving through the field. Those are satellites that are sitting over one spot on the Earth. Those are geosynchronous satellites. So as the telescope follows the stars, the satellites, okay, the telescope is rotating away from the direction the Earth is moving. You know, it's following the stars. So what happens is, as these are the trails over the 5 second time frame here, we're seeing those trails appear here. All right, let's try this. Try and plate solve now. I think we have enough stars for this, and we do. And we're actually very close to the Orion Nebula, so it's going to come on right now. There it is. All right. Oh, and I'm on a 5 second here. Let me go back to 1 second now that we have it. All right, there we are. And now we're probably going to have a little wind to deal with. And so what I'll do now is take this. It should be able to find it, yes. And then I'm going to go here and go to De Moraine's Nebula. We're going to center that. This is what I wanted to put in here. Now you're used to seeing the Orion Nebula, but you're not used to seeing De Moraine's Nebula, which is this. You see it up there, but you don't really quite know what that is. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is what that is, right now anyway. All right, so that said, let's take a closer look. Now, this is the Orion Nebula. It's sort of like that going that way. And then those 4 stars right there, Those are very hot young stars called the trapezium, and the trapezium is what lights the Orion Nebula. Okay, so when you come up here, those 4 stars right there are lighting up this whole nebula. And I'm gonna change the lighting here to accommodate this a little better. They're very hot young stars. They're very blue, and so they are actually ionizing a lot of the gases in that region to glow. And this is oxygen in here. This is hydrogen up here. So there's hydrogen all throughout here. There's a lot of dust. You can see this here. It's not a void. Okay, that's actually a dust cloud that's sitting over the top of the nebula behind it. Okay, that's how that works, right? So let's, I know it's off on the side a little bit, but that's because we want to look at this. Let's zoom in on this for just a minute, okay? Okay, now it's grainy because we're up at 200 gain. I'm going to go to 150, right? And it'll be slightly less grainy, and that's better. So you look at this black dust. This black dust is made of carbon atoms that are stuck together as molecules, silicon, and other elements that were forged in the hearts of stars and then released to the interstellar medium when the stars blew up. These stars we're seeing right here in the trapezium are destined to blow up at some point, and they're going to become supernovae, and this whole area is going to change dramatically. Okay, so right now the ionization energy, the hot ultraviolet radiation from these stars, is causing this whole nebula to glow. Now let's go see what that means by actually taking an image. Now we're a little off, but that's because I want to be here on purpose. There's a lot of stuff in here that you're not seeing. Now it's not fully dark yet, so we might get a little effect of that, and we're going to just do a 25-second shot at 150. All right, and we're going to go into our deep sky mode here. So we're going to stack this image that's coming up, and you can see right down there in the lower right, okay, right here, this is our progress bar in yellow, and that tells you when it's going to be finished. Now for those who know, this is the exposure time of our camera right there. Exposure is, it's going to be 25 seconds, and then down below it is the gain. So we have the gain set at 150. It can go to 600, and you'll say, well, Mark, why don't you use 600? Because you get a lot of oh, I didn't guide on this. You get a lot of ugly, nasty noise in your image. So let me come back here now. Let's actually take a photo and grab a guiding star. Okay, let's grab a guide star. Right. And that's not satisfactory, so I'm going to do it again. Stoppy. And let's try this guy. Yeah, not quite. Let's do it as a 0.5 second shot. Do a half-second shot. Redo it. And let's see if we can get that to be better. And no. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe. All right, let's try it. We're seeing this through some light clouds. That's so you understand, okay? So we're trying to do this through a few light clouds. Not a fun thing, but we're going to try it anyway. All right, so now we're going to clear this out of the way. And let's see what this next shot looks like. It may still have some wind artifact in it. Not that bad. You can see it's a little winded. Yeah, the color, though, the color is amazing when you get the right color like that. Okay, let's clear this one more time now that we're fully guiding. Because we're guiding on this star right here. Okay, and now that should come in just nicely. Daisy and Zoe, how are you? There we go. Yeah, so this, now we only have one exposure here so far, and you can see how kind of grainy it looks. And the more exposures we bring in, the better that's going to look. And I really like stacking, which is what we're doing. This is our stacking window. This is our camera window. This is our focus control window. This is our telescope control window. And these are the telescopes. And this is the main fun view. You know. Let's see. Cosmic ray is here. And he says this is what it might look like in the eyepiece of a small scope. Yeah, that's correct. Yep, he's right. Notice these 3 stars right here. I always look for when I look at a nebula, because those little 3 stars show me, including this 4th one, how focused we are. We're getting some wind effect here, but it should still be okay. We got 3 that we've done. I'm gonna spread this curve out and make it more manageable, meaning give us more latitude to make changes. So this is where I'm gonna go. And come over here, come off that peak, and now you start to see some of the dust that's in here. Okay, lots and lots of stuff, and you can barely see the trapezium now. Hey Toner, how you doing? Wow. Oh, it's raining and sleeting and snowing here. We're in the middle of an ice storm, so if I lose power, it's not my fault. All right, but I have underground wiring here. But from the street, way down there, it's on the pole. So if that tree gets taken down, so do I. It was one year where I was without power for 7 days, and I have a 500-gallon propane tank buried in the front yard, which is where I get all my propane to heat the house and do that. Well, I couldn't run the heat, but I didn't think I had hot water either. Unfortunately, I did the entire 7 days, and I heated it up on my gas stove in a pot to take showers and clean up, not realizing my hot water heater never went down. I had hot water the whole time. Moron. Hey, I can be intelligent about some things, not all things. Yeah. So this is M43, okay, and this is this beautiful thing. You can see this dark dust in here. It's sort of an extension of this dust, and let me see if I can make that more clear. Okay. Now it looks a little fuzzy because there's some light clouds. This telescope's pretty good at working through the light clouds. Here's the red of hydrogen that's glowing. Here's some bluish green of oxygen in here. And we have the black dust that we've talked about fairly often. That's really cool. Let's see if we can get more color out of this. That's pretty good. Let's add a little contrast now. Go up to the curve a little more. We don't want to go past the curve because then we start subtracting data from our view. Karen Belmont says it's darker there where we're taking the picture than in Minnesota where she is because of light pollution. That's correct. You know, you have a lot of light pollution out there. Yeah. So if you look at our photo of our observatories here, we have our own internet that's Starlink that we're using for here. I know that looks like it's on an angle, but that's actually intentional because it keeps it away from the building enough so that the roof doesn't interfere with it. And optical filter, yeah, I'm using a UHCS filter. You can look down here, Ray. We have a radian filter, which is like a dual bandpass narrow bandpass filter. We have an SA100, which is just a grating, so we can look at spectra in a very crude way. Then we have the UHCS, which is actually a nice combination filter that allows us to get rid of a great deal of light pollution and focus only on hydrogen alpha, O3, the teal green of oxygen, and the sulfur component. And then we have just an open filter, so it's just open, so it's like a hole, so you don't have any filters at all. And then we just have a dark shot here. This here you use to capture what are called dark frames. You put that on and you do the same number of exposures that you're taking with your camera at the same gain and the same everything. And then those dark frames get subtracted from every image, and it takes away a lot of the camera noise. Not the modeling that you see, but the inherent noise of the system. And I haven't done that with you guys here because it takes time and I don't want to waste your time. All right, let's do this. Let's pull this down, see if we can soften that a little. Okay, now you can still see the trapezium here. You can start to see this really neat modeling in here. Those stars right there are beautiful. And you can see Measure 43 right there. Let's see what it wants to do. It's going to pull it way down because it's trying to balance the brights against the darks. Find a happy medium. And the happy medium's there, that's for sure. Hey, C&D, Bob, how you doing, man? Autopilot, welcome. Welcome, welcome. And then let's see. Sam S says, sometimes the more intelligent you are, the less smart you are. Don't ask me how I know. Hey, Sam. You know what? You're right, man. You're absolutely right. The smarter you think you are, the less intelligent you suddenly become. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's go down our curve here. This is the mid-level. This is the middle range of values. If we move it way toward the other dark side, you'll see that we get an awful lot of noise in here. See all that noise? But you can see what's hiding out there. We can't, visualize it yet in exposures like this. So we pull it down and we find the happy medium, which is right about there. Okay, the trapezium is still just out of view. So if we drop it just a little more until we see the trapezium, okay, then we know that we're at the point where we just get to the, there it is, just there. You can see the 4 stars. Okay. So that helps. Galactic, what's up, man? I don't have the weather station out there. It's actually out in the Sonoran Desert, but it's not online yet. The problem I'm having is with the Wi-Fi to get it to connect. So, but I am working on that, Ray. Now, our Sonoran telescope is probably going to join this one in this building. And then we're going to be adding the spectrograph in here on piggyback on one of these telescopes that'll be in here, but probably this one. Okay, this one has the less weight load. The other one has the Hyperstar wide field on it, and that makes the telescope pretty heavy. And so for the safety on the mount, I don't want to overload it. Oh yeah. And Sharon and Katie are here from Pearland, Texas. Nice. I have a number of people that come in from Texas. It's nice to see you. Absolutely. All right, so let's color correct again. And you see these other stars showing up that didn't show up initially because of the nature of the sky at that point. We had, or the nature of and the quality of the image. Yeah, this is a really bright nebula. And I actually, if I fit the height, okay, that's the full frame right there. Okay, and it's a perfectly square frame, 3008 by 3008. The guiding that it's doing in the wind is causing this error in the top border. In fact, you can see if we zoom in, I bet you we can find one. Maybe not, because there it is right there. So if you look here, see these zigzags? Notice they're the same. That's the guiding error that has been accumulating, and the telescope is being driven to avoid the guiding error. And so we don't get to see the stars looking like these shapes. But this right here, these are just the pixels that are dead on the sensor. And that changes all the time. The pixels change. And so in my processing at the back end, after I take the picture, I can just get rid of those in one click. I wrote a little routine to do that in Photoshop. It's really nice. All of a sudden, boom, no more artifacts like that. But that's beautiful. Look at that. That's not bad. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got 25. I'm going to save this here. Save exactly as seen. Okay. And so that's M43. Now, I guess what would a shot of this nebula be without a shot of M42? So let's go and do that. Let's get M42, which is the main nebula here. And to do that, we're just going to bring it down into the view and move it so that we can actually get it where it belongs. Now, if you think it should stop at a certain spot, you'll undoubtedly be wrong, because this nebula is way bigger than the confines of our view right now. Okay, way bigger. M43 is like right here. All right, this nebula goes out of the view like way beyond this page, and then much further beyond this page down here. You go away. So let me just move this up a little bit. Actually, the other up. Do this. Kind of make sure M43 is still in the view. And that's about right. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to come back here. And we're going to tell it to give us a new guiding solution. We have some stars, so we'll say go for that. Get the guiding stars. And it hasn't found one yet. It's trying. Yeah, it didn't work there. Okay, maybe this one. How about that? Like I said, we're working through some light clouds. Yeah, it's not. Well, it's also doing that. Let me go to 1.5 seconds here, or 1 second anyway, and do this again. See if we could pull in another star that might be useful. Try 1.5 seconds. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay, so I'm gonna have to pick a star. I'm gonna pick a star, any star. Pick this guy. Alright, we'll try that. We'll let it stabilize. Find the centroid, or the brightest part. There it is, it found it. And it's being blown around. As you can see, that crosshair is moving all over the place. It's being blown around pretty bad. Wow, it's way out there now. So it found it, it knows where it is, and it tries to move it back in. But the winds are kind of strong. It's a big flag sticking up above the observatory. Okay. Yeah, okay, we're having trouble guiding on that. Yeah, we'll probably have similar trouble guiding on this, but we'll try it. Alright, we'll try that. Yeah, no matter how good your hardware is, the wind can prevent you from guiding. You can see it's dancing around. We'll get a shot out of this though. Okay. Alright, so let's ignore that for now. Alright, so we're going to come back here now and we're going to do another 25-second shot. Okay, and we're going to go into our deep sky mode. Okay. Down there in the lower right, you can see our progress bar down here. Right next to the Asterian Foundation logo. By the way, we received our first donation of a vehicle. And we signed it. Oh yeah, definitely gotta clear that and do it again. It's the first vehicle we've ever been ever had donated to us. And it's a full-blown ski boat. There was a couple that were done using it, and they said, you know what, let's just go for the write-off. And they sent us a beautiful ski boat. It's beautiful. Yeah, we got wind. See, guys? There's a lot of wind out there. And so the ski boat is currently in the driveway in Mesa at our headquarters location. And I'm waiting for a good frame to come in. And it's really, really looks good. It's kind of a fun looking boat. If we were interested in boats, you know, if anybody wants a boat, we're selling it. It has a V8 engine in it. It's actually a 21 foot, and it is a four winds, WINS, 1993 Horizon 190. Really, really interesting boat. Okay, this one's not quite clear. It's got little stuff. Hate to do it, but we're gonna clear. So if anybody wants a boat, let me know. Got one for you. Comes with a trailer too. How about that? Oh yeah, got some wind. Orion's got the winds. Okay. Let's see what else we might look at that may not give us as much of a problem. Not sure. Well, we could try Jupiter because a short exposure is all we need there. Yeah, okay. It has been decided. I'm going to go to Jupiter. It'll take me 6 years. Alright. So let's go here first. And it just dances all around. And we'll stop. Alright, let's try this. Yep. Here it comes. Should just pop in. There it is. Yeah, it's got that big glow around it because we're looking at it through some light clouds. But actually, what's interesting about light clouds is that sometimes they're actually helpful. And so light clouds will actually allow us to see detail that's a little better because it acts kind of like a filter. It's a weird thing. Alright, let's put this up in the middle. Okay. Alright, and now let's come off of this guy. And let's come down here. Yeah, look at that. Now you can see the cloud bands already. That go from 50 to that. And now we can increase our integration time by a small bit. Let's zoom in on that. That's too much. I got a magic trick I'm going to try just now. Okay. That's cool. Let's try this. Yeah, look at that. That is nice. That's pretty cool. Alright, we're gonna... I think I see the red spot right there. See that? You can start to see a little bit of the moons. Let's adjust the color a little better. Very nice. That looks nice. Oh yeah, that's the red spot. You can see some delineation, some differences in the bands. This is what I was talking about. You know, sometimes the light clouds, oddly enough, they act like a filter if they're even enough. And they are tonight. Look at that. You know, it's kind of interesting how that works. Sure, you'd rather have no clouds, but you can actually use them to your advantage. Awesome Potamus, how you doing? That's nice. Okay, we're gonna save that guy. Well, he's going to the wrong place, but that's okay. I'm gonna get out of that and do it again. So this is the raw view of Jupiter, and the turbulence of the atmosphere, you know, prevents us from actually seeing it clearly. But let's go here and see how sometimes you see the cloud bands and then sometimes you don't. Those are the clouds that are going between us and the planet. But if we stack, we can average the seeing and it makes it look pretty good. And boom. Hey, right now, see, this doesn't look that good because the clouds passing overhead are probably a little more dense. You can't even see the red spot here, but we could moments ago. Alright, I'm going to call this Jupiter. Okay. Try this again. Now if we actually overexpose Jupiter, we can see the moons. Zoom out. Okay. The wind is causing that bouncing you're seeing right there. Because we're only like 1.5 seconds. Yeah. So let's go look at the planetarium view and center up Jupiter and look at it in more detail and see what moons we're looking at. Europa and Ganymede. Okay, so Io and Callisto. Wait a minute. Just a minute. Oh. Io's right in front. That wasn't the great red spot. That was Io's shadow on Jupiter that we caught before. That's cool. So Io's right there in front. I don't know if we can spy Io, but we're going to try. That's interesting. I thought it was too small for the red spots. The red spot's on the other side of the planet. Oh. Not a good idea. This is the wrong one. So we're going to come out of here. Go back to this. Let's see if we can get some good seeing again. Yeah, there we go. We saw Io's shadow right there. And Io is about here. That's what that dark spot was. We actually caught Io's shadow. You can see it right there. But Io is right here itself. It's probably blending in with the planet. That's pretty cool, huh? We never saw Io's shadow before. That's neat. Okay, I'm going to save it again. And start again. And I want to try to get another photo. Okay, let's try that. See how the fuzziness goes away as we stack more images? 5 stacked, 6 stacked. We can see Io's shadow right there. I was saying that was a great red spot while not fully believing myself. And it wasn't. It was Io's shadow. That's neat. And don't think we'll see Io itself, though. Io's going to be... Oh, wait. Whoa. That right there. That's Io. We can see Io, too. How about that? It's a little hard. A little obtuse. Let's go back here and... Yeah, Io is right there. So we're seeing that shadow, which is right there, and Io is right there. You can actually almost see it. How about that? That's pretty cool. Well, let's keep going. Let's keep looking. Any vets forever. Isn't that cool? Seeing the shadow. Let's do another one. Let's reset and start again. And see if we can get an even better version of this. And the place to see anything like this with that kind of detail is when it's almost overhead, and that's kind of what we're looking at right here. Okay, 8, and we don't see a shadow too well yet, so not yet. Let's yeah, it was sharper before. Okay, not yet. Try again. That was cool. I've never seen IO shadow before. That's neat. Yeah, 42 minutes distant. That's right, the light. And Pluto's 5 hours. The light we see from Pluto right this instant left 5 hours ago from the planet. Okay, it looks like the clouds are getting thicker over the top of Jupiter right now. Let's see again. Okay, this is promising. Let's back out just a little. Okay, I'm just adjusting. Oops, get out of there. Okay. As we're talking, I mean, Io moves around Jupiter relatively quickly, so the shadow's moving across the face. If we come in here, okay, you can see there's a shadow. There's Io. Now it's flipped the other way. It's like, oh, in this view. And so we're going to look for both Io and the shadow again. That's the first time ever in my entire life that I saw the shadow of Io. Had I thought about it, I would have looked at it with the 20-inch f/19 refractor that I used when I was getting my degree and working on a parallax program, because I would always look at other objects that I wanted to see. But it's perfect. It was great for planets. Wow. I counted 19 cloud baths on Jupiter one night easily. And I never saw Io's shadow. I should have looked for that particular eclipse shadow on Jupiter's cloud tops. Let's try this again. Oh, look at that. There's Io's shadow. Just jumped right out. Pop. Right there. So let's see what we get here. Very nice. Let's see if we can sharpen a little more. There we go. Look at that. There's Io's shadow very, very obviously right now. That's very nice. We're going to save that one too. Wow. And this one may not do it, but it might help us. Yeah, no, that was too much as I thought. But this one, actually, messing with these actually helps us better. Yeah. So Io is right here. If only we could see. But look at the shadow. That's really well defined now. Look at that. Wow. So we're actually, this is kind of interesting, right? We're looking at Io's shadow. We're watching an eclipse on another planet, on another world. And Daisy and Zoe Amethyst, you're absolutely right. It's a Sky Tour live stream first. We've never seen Io's shadow on Jupiter, ever. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about that little dot right there. that little dot is Io shadow, and Io is right about here. And I can't, I'm looking for it, I can't see it. You know, so it's right there. And in a moment of clarity, we may be able to glimpse a discontinuity in the surface of the cloud tops that we're looking at. And that might be Io itself. Wow. Okay, I took a picture of that. So we're going to do it again. And start again. And let's see what we can get. Already jumping out at us there. That's good. Star Traveler, how's it going? Yeah, Ray, I don't want to change the views, though. You're right. You're absolutely right. I don't want to change the views, though. But thank you for offering that. You mean the Leo triplet? Star Traveler? Which quartet are you talking about? Because I know we have the Leo triplet that we look at from time to time. This is neat. Kind of cool to see an eclipse in another world, isn't it? It really is. That's amazing. I'm going to do a write-up about this, that's for sure. Let's do this again. You might say, why are you doing it over and over and over? Well, because there's going to be times of what we call fortunate seeing, where we actually get a perfect view of the planet. And one of those times had happened right at the very beginning of this. And I was like, what's that? That's not the red spot, is it? And I thought maybe it was. And of course not. The red spot's much, much bigger. But what a beautiful thing. This is fuzzy, so we'll reset that. But this is astronomy. You've got to be patient enough to get good data, you know. And I want to thank you guys for sitting through the beginning of the stream where we lost our camera connections, but now we haven't. Any Vets Forever says, maybe we can see an Ionian volcano or two. Oh, look at that. That's really pretty. Well, the only way we'd see the Io volcano is if we had a more powerful telescope and we'd be able to look at it in a slightly different light than visible light. And we'd be able to see the cloud of particles coming off of Io. I built a radio telescope one year. Oh, this is looking really better, much better. And that radio telescope was used to listen to Io, because Io actually makes a lot of radio noise as it goes around Jupiter. And here's an interesting fact about Io that you may not know. It is a small moon, a lot of sulfur on that moon for whatever reason. And that sulfurous moon has a torus in its orbit, a ring, basically a toroidal ring of sodium atoms. It's called a sodium torus, and not sulfur but sodium. And the sodium torus reacts and has with the Jupiter's radiation belt, and you can hear it in a radio telescope. It makes noise, and so we can actually see and visualize what that thing actually looks like. And so the radio telescope I built with a guy named Dan actually did that. Oh, look at the shadow. It's so pronounced. Yeah, thank you, Star Traveler. You're right. 3190 group. My mistake. I don't know. I can't remember everything, you know. Weather is crazy. What's going on? Weather is crazy here, I'll tell you that. Ray suggesting upping the gain and shortening the exposure. I'd like to do that, and you're right, we do play with that, and I'd be happy to try that. So I'll set the gain right now, it's at 0. I'll put it at 50. Alright, we'll give Ray a shot here and see what we get. I just don't want to lose the quality of this. Now we can shorten the exposure to say 600 maybe. No, 600 milliseconds. Okay, so about half, just to see how that works. It'll initially be more noisy, but we might be able to see this better. Okay, we're gonna go a little higher. Not 1200, no. Let's do 850 milliseconds. 1,000 milliseconds is a second, just in case you may not recall. All right, let's try this. See, when you go to 50 gain, we're introducing digital noise into the image. So the shorter exposure is not necessarily going to help us, but I figured we could try it. We'll reset the stack here and try it again. It's there, you can see it. See all that noise? We had that before. Oh, this is looking good right there. Look at that. Oh, let's see what we get. I want more fortunate seeing. We lost it. Bounced around. Star Travel says, my last shot, Jupiter with my 585, I lowered the exposure to 3 milliseconds and got over 300 or 100 frames per second. Final stack was sharper than I'm not doing a oh, this is looking nice now. Look at that. All right, let's freeze that. We'll do that. That's pretty. I should probably raise this a little bit. Let's go to 900 milliseconds. All right, and we'll reset the stack. We just have to collect more images to get rid of that digital noise, so it takes a little longer. Robert Waters, welcome to Skyter Livestream. Well, Ray says time lapse instead of a stack. Well, if I do a time lapse, then unfortunately I'm going to want to guide on something. And actually, this application has the ability to guide on the planet. So that's something I'm thinking of trying at some point. I actually tried it the other night, and I didn't have much luck with it. Look at that. If I pull this out a little more. Yeah, see, the shadow really jumps out at you. But I know the shadow's there. What I want to see is IO. I want to try and see IO. And where is IO? We come back here. And IO is right there. It's getting closer to the limit of the planet. Look at that. Wow. That's a pretty shot. But you see the ring around it. Unfortunately, that's an artifact of the sharpening that I'm doing here. If I can tone that down, that'll go away. So you gotta split the difference. How about this guy? Let's move this one up. Let's see what this does. Uh-oh. Let's reset the stack. Try again. Well, the shadow's pretty much instantaneously there. Oh, look at that. Isn't it amazing how the image just sort of like shows up little by little? That's beautiful. Perfect. That's really nice. Ray, thank you for the suggestion. I'm going to leave it at this setting. 50 gain is enough to bring in the features. And if we just stack more of them, we won't have the noise issue. Because we're stacked up to 55, 56 images. We're going to 100. I set the stack to 100 originally. Look at that. Let's up the saturation. Let's see what that additional color can do to this. Yeah, that's what I thought. It makes it in color, but it actually kind of ruins some of the color sometimes. Yeah. It stabilizes after a while. Now the poles on Jupiter are blue, and it's a very subtle color. But that's too much, so we have to bring that back. That's more like it. Look at that. How about that? That's so cool. I am just so pleased to finally see Io's shadow live. Amazing. And Ronald screaming at us. Hi, Mark! Yeah, it's windy still, Ronald. Hey, Ronald, look at this image of Jupiter. See that little dot? That's the shadow of Jupiter's moon Io. Io is right about here. And its shadow is right there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. And Yvette says, are the inhabitants of Jupiter called Jovians? I guess they would, right? Because it's the Jovian system. Or we could say Jovelings, like Earthlings, Jovelings, Jovianlings. Cool. I've seen some differences in the clouds up here now. I'm going to save this. I'll study this later and see if I see any indication of seeing Io itself. We're going to 1 second now. I want this a little brighter. And we're going to redo it. Let's see if this is... Come out of here. Go back in. And start it from scratch. I'm not getting the same result here. Let me... Not sure why that stopped. Is this what stopped? Oh, dumb. I said 1,000 seconds. I want to just... I want 1 second. My mistake. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's do this again. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. That's a brighter planet. That's nice. All right, so as this stacks, we'll see the Io's shadow right here. closing in. Look at that, huh? I'm really happy with this. This makes my night. You guys, you know, by Jove, I think you got it. That's right, Lori. Exactly. By Jove, I think he's got it. Well, you know, I didn't start getting it until I was about, I'd say, 55 years old, and then I sort of started getting it, and then I lost it again. So then it came back later. Yeah, that's right. And Yvette's smart guy. Live would mean 42 minutes later. That's right. I just finished a presentation which I'm going to be giving Sunday. I'm starting a new network, starting on a new network with my show. It's called Sky Tour Radio, but it's not radio. It's actually a multimedia extravaganza. And the lecture is a 2-hour lecture we're doing. I'm doing it. It's a show I've been doing on KGRA for years, and I'm moving to another network. And on that new network, the show I'm doing, the first show, is called Time Travel in the Universe, and we're going to actually look at more and more distant objects, and then look back and see what was happening on Earth at that moment. And that's pretty cool. So we're gonna see what that shows us. All right, I'm gonna clear this because we got a little less clarity on this, so we'll try it again. So just like you had mentioned, and how and Ray said, you know, we see Jupiter as it was 42 minutes ago, right? And we see Mars between 4 minutes and 22 minutes, you know, into its past. And Pluto's 5 hours. Voyager, the Voyager spacecraft, it's a full day away with light. It's 23 hours away. If you could go toward it at 60 miles an hour, you'd be traveling for over 25,000 years, 23,000 years to get there. How's that? Yes, I did the calculation. Wow. I'm gonna put these together and see if when later on when I put them together, I'm gonna see if we can see Io moving across, not Io, but the shadow of Io moving across the surface. It won't be moving far. We'd have to come back in like half an hour to actually see it moving substantially. So we have galactic, volcano, and galactic. What's going on, man? Robert Waters. Who knows what volcanism lurks beneath the surface of Io? The shadow knows. Yeah, we lost it. We're going to clear. Yes, Io's volcanism is driven by the kneading, as in bread, kneading bread, like K-N-E-A-D-I-N-G. The kneading of Io by Jupiter's own gravity, followed by the gravity of Europa and Ganymede and Callisto. This is a fortunate seeing image. Look at this. We're going to take that right there. That's pretty good. We're going to take the brightness down a tad. Here we go. Save that. Wow. Drop it a little more. Oh, not bad for a 42-minute run. Galactic, what's happening? Okay, we lost our stack only because of the wind. Hey, look at that. Jupiter just blew up. No, it didn't actually. see if we can. Yeah, we have to pull this guy back. It's doing too much. Yeah. We have some, you know, fractions of clouds going through our view, and that's part of the problem. I don't have an all sky cam right now out there. I was using the one that was on site that belonged to one of the other astronomers, but it has to be reset because they suffered a power outage, and not a power outage, an internet outage, and it took the camera offline. We kept going. We didn't even know because we have Starlink. I offered them the use of our Starlink, and no, I think it's just too much. But we have very strong Wi-Fi where we are, because obviously our router's right next to the computer and right near the telescope. Okay, I'm gonna stop this for now, and I'm going to take this down to 800 milliseconds. And look at the wind blowing it around, huh? Alright, so now let's go back and try this. Yeah, look at that. Wow. I like that. I'm liking this result. Keith Evans makes a nice point. He says, it's amazing how everything in the universe started from basically nothing. It blows my mind. Yeah. You know, if you think about the way the universe started, I'm going to reset because this was not quite perfect. If you think about how the universe started, the first atoms that could actually form came after the universe cooled enough for protons and electrons to actually combine with each other, and of course it was the hydrogen atom that was made first. And in the early universe there was only hydrogen, some helium, a bit of lithium, some beryllium, and not much more than that. And the rest of the elements came after stars were formed, and they started to become, and stars of course were element factories. This is beautiful. And the element factories proceeded to build these additional elements. And then when they went supernova, then the star's guts was blown out to the interstellar medium, and it was from that debris that new stars were formed. And the cycle went on and on. Each star was made with more materials in it because even if it couldn't make the materials itself, it was made with them. And when you look at a star, only 15 to 20% of the whole diameter of the star, tiny 15 to 20%, that's the core. All the rest is along for the ride, and that's all plasma, meaning it's free protons and free electrons. It's too hot for them to combine, kind of like in the early universe, which is neat. Okay, I lost the stack because of had a few. Let me try to do this. Yeah, it changes the color a little too much. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. That shadow is beautiful. Alright, I'm going to take this down. This might be no clouds, so let's go to 500 milliseconds quickly and reset the stack. Look at that. Let's go let that percolate for a minute. A little too bright. That's okay for now. And let's check out where it's supposed to be. Io's near the limb. The shadow is now near the center. And sure enough, there it is. So that means that Io is right down here. Wow. That's pretty cool. Let's reset this and do it again. I'm going to go to 600 milliseconds. Extra 100 milliseconds. Make all the difference. Actually, I can also do this. Oh yeah, look at that. Io's just beyond our reach. Wow. You can see the bands and you can see the belts. Okay. So we can see movement now. I mean, it started here, and we'll be able to see the movement of it all the way across. And I'm going to set up an animation showing the movement of Io's shadow across the surface of the cloud tops. I never expected to see this tonight. I mean, Jupiter became the thing to look at. You know, well, the red spot. Yeah, when is the red spot? I think the red spot. Let's go look. And this kind of looks like it right here, but let me go look and see. No, not yet. I wonder if we can see that dark storm. Dark storm. Not really. Wow, that's really pretty though. That's nice. Okay. Let's bring it back. Oh, this is going to be a nice one. This one looks really, really pure. This looks pretty good. And it's getting better. We've stacked 25 so far here. Look at that. The shadow is getting crisp and clear. I think we're out of the clouds with Jupiter. Look at that. Wow. That's neat. Karen Belmont's asking if I ever do a deep study of the sun. I'm setting up a solar observatory out here in Connecticut, because in Connecticut at least we have sun during the day, and it's rarely as clear, and not ever as clear as out here where these are. Save that one. If you guys are getting sick of this, let me know and I'll move on. I just thought that it's such a beautiful opportunity that it's worth doing. Ronald, I don't know where the red spot is behind Jupiter right now. It's on the other side. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting clouds. You can see around here. So another cloud just passed over it, because we went from beautiful clarity to like nothingness. And you can see it in the data out here. If we zoom out, okay, and if we increase the red is the wrong color. It shouldn't be red, but it's okay. All right, so this goes here. If we do this, you can see the moons. 2 of the 4. Io is in front of the Jupiter right now. Okay, let's clear this and let's see if we can get another fortunate seeing moment. This looks promising. There is the shadow. It is not the best thing. I'll have to reset that and we'll just try again, you know. Based on what we've been seeing, the shadow gets really defined. That's kind of cool. There we go. It's starting to look nice. We're at 35 stacked here, and now 45. And then 50. Okay, I'll save it. That's something. I'll let it go right to 100 so you can see what it does. The more it stacks, the better the color rendering and so forth. But because we're not quite guiding, it can be a problem. There is a way to do guiding in here, and like I said, I was studying it the other day, and I gave it a shot when I did a private stream for myself, and it didn't really work. So I'm still studying the best way to do this. Okay, so we'll reset the stack because we did 100 and that's where it goes. Doesn't go any more than that. See, there's the noise when we first start stacking, and then as we stack. If we stack 20 images, we have half as much noise as when you have 10 images. So when we get to 100, we have half as much noise as when we have 50 images, and that's why it looks pretty good sometimes. Okay. That looks pretty cool. Brightness drops a tiny bit, which is good. How about the gamma? What's the gamma gonna do? Yeah, right. Okay, let's do this. Do this again. Well, let's go back here now and pop out of here. Yeah, Ronald, this was a good scope, yeah. You were the benefactor that helped us get it, and I was the one that decided which one we're going to get. So I'm glad that we did it. Oh, I already looked at Saturn earlier. There's a cloud bank there. You can't see it, unfortunately. Already tried, Ray. Yeah, this planet is a big gas bag, essentially, Ray, as you say. The only difference is that it has a core of a hydrogen gas that is so compressed that it actually is conductive and acts more like a metal, in a sense. So it acts like, that's why they call it metallic hydrogen, which, you know, doesn't make any sense, right? That's like saying solid air. The words don't really have meaning, except that's what this is. Okay, so gamma, let's reset all first. Yeah, and now let's automatically adjust again. Yeah, okay. And let's yeah, we're still looking through clouds and it's bouncing around. This might be a good one. This might be a good scene. We'll take that and save it. Remember Io's shadow, it was over here when we first started, and now it's gone to here. So Io is near the limb of Jupiter. Let's see where it is. Yeah, here's Io near the limb. Oops, come back. Io is right there near the limb. So what we might see is as it goes around, you're going to see it actually come out. And we might see Io and the shadow at the same time. Now that'd be cool. I wonder how long we have to wait. Let's see. We only have to wait. Let's see again. Oh. We only have to wait about 10 minutes or so, and we might actually see Io peeking out from the left and see the shadow at the same time. That would be a pretty picture. So Io's right there. We're going to see a bright dot appear right here. It won't be that bright because, you know, we're going to have this. We'll have to probably go like this and crank it up, you know, to see the dot. Maybe. We'll see. We might see a discontinuity in the edge of the planet here, and that would be Io coming over the limb. That's kind of cool. That's interesting, Ray. I didn't know about Lawrence Livermore doing that experiment. Okay. And Marianne is with us. Hey, Marianne. Hey, Marianne, look on the screen. Jupiter has a moon, Io, that's close to it. And you can't see it, but it's right here in front of Jupiter. But that's its shadow. How about that? And that looks like this when we look at our stellarium. There's Io. It's near the limb. In just a few minutes, it's going to come out. All right? And we're going to see Io out here and see the shadow at the same time. We just happened upon this, which is kind of cool. All right, let's see here. Brighten things up a little too much. Let me drop it down a little. Alright, we're gonna move out a little bit. We're also fighting high clouds, Marianne, too. Well, we got some wind just there. Now, Io's going to be tiny on the limb when we see it, so. And it's probably not going to see it both perfect. We're probably going to end up having, well, I don't know, because if I do this, that's too much. But if I do this, okay, we can still see the shadow a little bit, and we can see the other couple moons here. But those moons are a lot bigger than Io. But we should see a disturbance right here as Io is exiting the front of the planet. Let's see if this does something. Yeah, I don't want that. I want this. Oh, not that. Okay. Reset all. And do it again. Okay. So we'll come back down to here. There it is. That's the shadow. Good. It's well past the center point now, as you can see. And I have to look. I might see a disturbance happening on the edge. Yeah, look. Here's Io. Io is right near the edge of Jupiter right now, so let's keep an eye. Over the next 4 minutes, we should see a change in the surface features over here. Let's reset the stack, do it again. Oh, that's not what I want. Of course it's messing up on me. Let's take this down to 450 milliseconds. Clear the stack. Okay. There we go. Let's drop the brightness. There we go. And so right here we should see a change in the bulge of Jupiter, and we're kind of seeing a little thing there. I'm not imagining it. That's pretty cool. Let's play with the saturation a little bit. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're gonna get Io separating from the limb of Jupiter here pretty soon. There it is. There you go. That little extra fluff right there, that's Io coming off the limb of Jupiter. Let's reset the stack. Do it again. There, you see it. You see it right there. You're watching the universe in action. Let's drop this down here. Maybe we can still see it. Yeah, it's really hard. Let's go in here now. Yeah, see, Io is coming off the limb, just as I thought. And you can see this little bump right there. See that bump? You're looking at the planet Io and its shadow cast onto the cloud tops of Jupiter. Can you imagine being there right now and seeing this? Wow, this would be really cool. Oh yeah, look at that. There's Io. Look at that. Let's save that. That's nice. There we go, guys. Now you got it. You got Io right there and the shadow of Io right there. Let's reset and do it again. It's as obvious now as ever. We're struggling too hard to see it because of the it wasn't quite off of Jupiter's limb. I've never taken a picture of this situation. Let's take down the brightness a bit. Oh, that's too much. But yeah, you can't miss it. We can see now. You can see this bump coming off of Jupiter. And that is Io right here. So Io is almost completely off Jupiter's face right now. And if we come up just a little, you can see it right there. Right there. Strange, man. Well, we did it. We actually got to see Io's shadow and Io at the same time. I'm going to save that. This is really exciting. I'm so happy that we were able to do this. I was taking it as, oh, it's a bummer of a night, you know. Oh, now you look at Io. Look at that. There's Io, guys, and there's the shadow. Wow. Haha. It's going to separate even more as Io moves a little further away, because Io's going to move way out here. And its shadow will be over there. Now that's, if you draw a line between that and that, it's a perspective angle to the sun. So Jupiter's, by looking at that, you can actually tell kind of where Jupiter is in the solar system relative to the sun versus us. You need good spatial qualities. There it is. Look at that. Ta-da! Io and Jupiter. That's neat. We're used to seeing, I've never, like I said, never done this before. Let's just kick it up a notch. Yeah, there it is. Can't miss it. There's no more bulges anywhere else except there. Now that is cool. There's Io. Right there. Hi, Io. And there's Io's shadow over there. And there's Io. So they're right there. Yeah, that's cool. I'm just gonna stare at this for a while. Look at that. We're watching the universe move around us, guys. We're actually seeing the universe. Now it's very clear. Look at that. You can't miss it now. You can't miss it. And guess what? This happened totally because I thought we were going to have to look at something that we could see through the clouds. And what we did was we are seeing the beauty of Io. Now it's fully off the disk. Look at that. There's Io, and there's its shadow on Jupiter. Now that's a picture. That's a picture. Let's take the brightness down a tad. Too much. Let's do it this way. Wow, I like that. You can see it. It's very obvious. Now that's cool. I know, I keep saying it, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jupiter's radiation belt is 20 times the magnitude of ours. And that's pretty warm. You know, it translates to stimulating molecules in your body to the point where they tear apart. You'd live about 9 seconds in Jupiter's field. First you'd go blind. And then you would start to basically be ripped apart. There's several things that the radiation field is very powerful, as you guessed. Look at that. Wow, I just can't stop looking at this and saying this. Sorry, I'm just like so happy to see this. This is a first. We've never actually seen this before. Let's reset everything. Do it again. Okay, that's too much. Let's do this. Okay, we got too much going on there. All right, we're going to I'm going to reset all on both counts right now. And then reset the stack, start over. And start by adjusting the brightness and contrast. And then auto sharpen. Okay, I think the clouds are gone, so I gotta drop this down to 125 milliseconds. And we'll reset. See what that does. Yeah. Okay, and now let's reset these. Start again. Sharpen. Yeah, and now let's bring this guy up slowly, and then bring this guy up. Oh yeah, that's the one. Alright, and now Io is right there. You can see it. And let's bring this up a little. There you go. Look at that. Now that's the money shot right there. Io totally independent with its shadow on the surface of the cloud tops. That is cool. Now we'll do that. Look at that. Okay, well, this picture is being saved out there, and the time on this one is 2044:31 Arizona time. 2044:31, and that's sort of the money shot that we wanted to see right there. And we can adjust the brightness and so forth as needed for this shot. Yeah, it's too bright. I'm going to take it down. Okay, we lost it because of the movement. Kathy Messick's an amazing capture. Yeah, it's really cool. Aurelio, how are you? Aurelio Maraca's with us. Aurelio is the guy behind the Danbury Library events, including the UFO conference that he holds every year. And he's also a very good friend of Eric Idle from Monty Python. So we are not worthy, Aurelio. But look at that, Aurelio. We got Io, the closest moon to Jupiter. It's going to come way out here, by the way. And this is its shadow on the surface. So you're literally seeing light play, 5 light hours away. I'm sorry, 42 light minutes away. Pluto's 5 light hours away. Look at that. Wow. That is so neat. Okay, and let's now I'm going to show you okay, I'm going to show you the actual size, because we're at 250% on our thing, but let me show you the actual size. That's the size of Jupiter that we're looking at on the frame. All right. Yeah. And I'm zooming in now. I'm at 150%, and there's Io, plain as day. Wow. I'm really liking this. Beautiful. So we watched the shadow progress from here all the way to here. So I'll do an animation showing that, and you'll see Io come off the planet. That's going to be kind of cool. That's neat. And Aurelio's asking if Disclosure Day is coming. Well, what's interesting is that the president said that he wants to have UFO files released. And as someone who, I'm the chief photo and video analyst and run the photo analysis team worldwide for the Mutual UFO Network. So you can imagine that it's got us pretty excited. And I'm not as excited as this, though. That is really something. Look at that. Wow. So I have to say, we're pretty excited about it, but we're also tempering our excitement because we've been here before. Been here before. Io and its shadow. Me and my shadow. Straighter than arrow. No, straight as an arrow. Remember that? Okay, let's do this one more time. Okay. Now look at that. That's just beautifully obvious. That ring is an artifact of the sharpening that we're doing here. I could bring that down. Yeah, that's better. Look at that. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Whew. I am just all excited about this. This is so cool. And Yvette says, imagine if Galileo had seen this. Actually, he did, but he didn't see the shadow of Io on the surface. He saw these moons moving around the planet. That's why they were named the Galilean satellites, because he's the first one that noticed that they are going around Jupiter and not going around the Earth. And that's what got him in trouble. And he was under house arrest for the rest of his life and labeled a heretic. Can you imagine if I said something to you like, well, Jupiter's a planet out there and it has its own moons, and the police knocked on my door and said, you can't say that anymore, you're under arrest. Can you imagine that? Well, that's what happened to him. Aurelio, stop talking about monoliths. That's really pretty. I'm going to pump this up again just for a second. Wow. Save that one again. See how Io is getting further away now? We literally watched it come off. Yeah, all these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there. Use the others together. Use them in peace. That's approximately what it was at the end of the movie 2010, the year we made contact. All these worlds are yours except Europa. Young Skywalker. Hey! Sure, look at that. Wow, let's take down this for a sec. Oh, much better. Look at that. Hoo-wee, DD. Okay, who knows where that comes from? Hoo-wee, DD. What cartoon was that from? It's a cartoon from the 60s. Yes, I know. The 60s. Wow, this is pretty. Oh, look at that. Do you know what cartoon? Put it in the chat. Aurelio, not a movie and not a book. It was a Saturday morning cartoon. What was it? Look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting... I'm getting crazy about it. This is just so crazy. Donald Kunzer, you are very close. It's not Deputy Dan, because the deputy wasn't human. Deputy, by the way, notice that we can see the color of Io here. Io is sort of orange. Deputy Dog, that's right, Donald. And it was D-A-W-G. Oh, hi, Sheriff. Deputy Dog, what are you doing over here? What happened? What happened? Nothing here, Muskie. Look at that. We can see Io's color. Io is a yellowish orange. It's very obvious right now. Wow. This is excellent. Holy cow. Talk about a money shot. That's the money shot right there. Look at that, guys. Wow. You fixed it. Good job, Donald. Wow. Unbelievable. Let's reset the stack and try for another one. Oh, this is going to be a good one too. I think we're out of the clouds for Jupiter right now. And look what we're seeing. Detail in this upper, or actually upper cloud polar bank here. Look at that. Why am I so taken by this? I don't know, guys. I don't know why I'm so taken by this. I'm sorry. But this is stunning. I think the weather's calmed down out there. And we actually were able to film the entire, well, most of the transit. Lori at LTP, yes, that was Muskie Muskrat. Hey, Vince. What happened? What happened, Muskie? And who was that? Vince what? Vincent was his name. And the rest of the name, he had a middle name and a last name. Vincent, Vincent. Wow. Gee. We're watching a cosmic dance from 5.2 astronomical units away. Oh man. The orange color of Io is just stunning. Look at it. So what we're looking at is this right here, right there. I'll back out a little. See, it's sort of orangey, and we're seeing that here. Now, if I go any higher in the exposure, it's going to overexpose the surface, and I don't want to. I want to keep that shadow prominent. I can do a little more, okay, but then we lose it, right? And I don't want to lose it, so we're just going to leave that down. That is incredible. All right, we'll save that one more time. I'm going to have like 100 Jupiter images here. Wow, wow, wow. The only icing on the cake would be if we could get Jupiter's red spot to come rotating in, but I don't know where it is from this particular angle. Hey, Blues Traveler got it. Vincent Van Gogh. That is correct. It was Vincent Van Gogh, Muskie Muskrat, Deputy Dog, and the Sheriff. Remember that? He was an old guy with a big, gray handlebar mustache and slits for eyes and a flat top cowboy hat. Deputy Dog, what's going on? What in tarnation is going on around here? Oh, hi, Sheriff. Hey, D.D. And then Muskie Muskrat would play tricks on Deputy Dog. Help! Help, Deputy Dog! I'm sinking in the creek mud! And he had a stick sticking out like it was his tail. And Deputy Dog would go try to rescue him. And, of course, the fun would begin. Look at that. Wow. Oh yeah, Ricochet Rabbit, remember? Of course, you all remember Yogi Bear is Ricochet Rabbit. Remember Yogi Bear, remember that? Yogi Bear, and what was his sidekick, the little bear? This is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're out of the clouds for sure with Jupiter. Oh, man. That's right. Boo Boo. Hey, Boo Boo. How about to get another picnic basket? Okay, Yogi. I don't know, Yogi. Mr. Ranger, sir. Mr. Ranger, sir. Remember Mr. Ranger? Yogi, you put that picnic basket back. Okay, sir. Right away. Then he'd run with it. Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, Rocky, watch me pull the rabbit out of my hat. Nothing to perceive. Presto. Must have had the wrong hat. And now for something we hope you'll really like. I remember that. Remember Boris and Natasha? Okay. Boris, darling, we got to get Moose and Squirrel. Yeah, Natasha, we got to get Moose and Squirrel. Let's go. Oh, perfect. Look at that. No, start again. Oh, man. This scope and camera are performing exceptionally well. Wow. Oh, yes, that's right. Fearless leader. We got to do this for fearless leader. Right, Boris, darling. Darling. Remember? Exactly. Let's See if we can get a little more color out of this. It's too much, but let's start again. Ah, look at that. Now that's a pretty shot. Take the saturation down just a bit. It's too much. And Yvette says, I watched Yogi Bear. That was 50 years ago. I still recall all the character names. Oh, yeah. Barney Rubble of the Flintstones. That's right. Hey, Barn. Hey, Fred. Bam, 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 bam. His son, Bam Bam. Okay, we're going to save this one, too. This is pretty. Io moving further away from the disk of Jupiter. Yeah, very nice indeed. Hey, Curtis. We followed the transit of Io across the surface there, Curtis, and the shadow was here when we started, and Io was sort of in the center, and it's come all the way to here, and Io has come off the disk. It was neat watching it come off the disk. I'm going to do an animation of this when we're done. Donald says most of the Hanna-Barbera characters showed up on Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Huh. And Yvette says, hey, new series, The Adventures of Boo Boo and Bam Bam. Okay, we're gonna reset this. See where we're sitting. See, it's stacking, so it's actually aligning the images of the planet. So we're actually creating a stack. And so it can do that while it doesn't get too out of hand. If we get a lot of wind, it won't work, and that's why we have to redo it sometimes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Adult Swim was great, too. Remember Aeon Flux? AEON FLUX? Cartoon with no talking whatsoever. It was just situations where this really skinny superhero woman would run around shooting things and stuff. Okay, this is pretty. Wow. I'm liking this. I also like the Robot Chicken. Remember Robot Chicken? Remember Space Ghost? It's Space Ghost with Jace. And what was the monkey's name? Oh man, I know all these names. I can't remember. It was a little kid, little guy. Oh, Spy vs. Spy, Soundless. Yeah, yeah, that was the Mad comic. And then he did a TV show. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I thought some of those were very classic. Some of those were very classic. Oh, Blip. That's right, Blip. Thank you. Donald Kunzer. You're showing your age too, man. All right. Yeah, Blip. And what was the little girl's name? We had Jace and so-and-so and Blip. There's a little girl, little kid. Because back then, an adult guy in a weird costume could take 2 kids with him anywhere he went, and it was no problem. I'll use my anti-insectoid ray. Those 4 buttons on his wrist gauntlet, boy, they did everything, huh? That's right. Most people are familiar with Space Ghost because of the TV show that came later. That was a real-time thing, and then it showed cartoons. But the actual Space Ghost cartoon was different. look at that. I'm telling you, I'm really quite excited by this. This is neat. That's a little more sharpening detail there. Jace, Jan, and Blip. Thank you, Donald. And what was it? Insectoid or Mantid? What was the insect character's name? He had a special name. I don't remember his name. You'll remember it. Karen Belmont says she remembers Eon Flux on MTV. You know, when MTV first started, I saw the very, very first video on MTV. Do you remember what it was? It was a song by a group called, begins with a B. Who knows? Zorak, thank you. That's right. Yeah, he was a praying mantis. You're right, Curtis. Zorax. It was Zorax. Zorax, I think. And, yeah, so tell me if you know the answer to what I just asked. First song ever played on MTV. I remember watching it, and it was the coolest thing because I'd never seen a music video before. It was the very first music video ever put over the air. Was it Zorak or Zorax with an X? Okay. Wow, this is, I'm just astonished. We got 100 stacked images here, and we got a very, very nice view of IO. You're getting there, Blues Traveler. The Buggles video killed the radio star. Nice job, Donald. You didn't look it up, did you? Because I'm not looking up any of this stuff. Video killed the radio star. In my mind and in my car. Remember that? I love that. So I remember that. I actually watched them perform it recently. Believe it or not. I think he's still alive. He's older. He still plays guitar like he's like crazy, doing a good job. Donald for the win. That's right. Okay, we just lost IO probably to some random noise, so we're gonna do this again. Look at that, wow. Oh yeah, Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. That was like the second video on MTV, I think. Hey, Lazy Duke. Actually, I don't remember what the date was. Yeah, Living in the Plastic Age was that, yeah. The date, I think it was in the 80s? Was it the early 80s by chance, maybe? Because I think I was Trevor Horn, that's right. Curtis's brother. Wow, that's pretty. I'm kidding about it being Curtis's brother. I think it might be his father, you know. Okay, 1986 was Money for Nothing. I saw Michael Jackson stuff too. Ronald asked a question which is pertinent to what we've been doing here, unlike everything I've been saying for the last half an hour, sorry. And that is, how close is Jupiter to becoming a star? If you look at Jupiter, okay, the bands that you see there, that's actually from an exceedingly small amount of impurities in its atmosphere. This is like ammonium hydroxide that makes it this brown. Okay, all the rest of it is other chemicals and so forth. But Jupiter needs to be 80 times more massive to become a star. 80 times. All right, and that's no small feat. That's something that Jupiter can't do and won't ever do. And even And here's the thing. I have a program called Universe Sandbox, and we'll do it at some point here as a stream. And what we do with that is we actually take it, and we take Jupiter, and we throw planets at it until it gets big enough to start nuclear fusion in its core, because it's a physics simulator. So it's really cool. And you can actually, fling hydrogen gas at it. You can fling other elements. You can fling other planets. Of course, it eats them. And at a certain point, you will end up seeing fusions start up on Jupiter. And that's really cool. And that's after about 80 times the mass. And it takes an awful lot of planets of significant size for that to happen. Now you look at Saturn and say, well, Saturn's the second largest planet. That's got to be massive. Actually, the thing that's true about Saturn is that if you could put it in water, it'd float. Okay, because Saturn is actually low density. Water is much higher density than Saturn. So Saturn would float on top of water if you could theoretically put it in water that large. Which is kind of interesting. So adding Saturns to Jupiter will add mass, but you have to keep adding a lot more rocky mass to get to the point where Jupiter will actually have enough heat and pressure bearing down on that core of metallic hydrogen to cause it to start fusion. Oh yeah, this is amazing. Alright, now we do it again. Let's see how much further. Wow. Alright, let's try something crazy. Let me see if we can look at something different than Jupiter right now. I know, I just don't want to make you guys crazy, that's all. Oh, I know what we can look at. It's right nearby, too. Oh, yes. It's in Gemini. I'm just going to look it up. I'm not going to go there yet. Is it the owl? No, it's not the owl. Although the owl is pretty high right now because, well, it's not really. Okay, it's 40 degrees up. It'll show well. Okay. Well, this was great, guys. We showed Jupiter very well. I'm going to do one more reset on the stack here. And we'll capture the shadow, which is now near the limb of Jupiter. We'll capture this one more time, and then we'll move on to another object. I know you're going, thank you, thank you. Yeah, cosmic ray is correct when you look at stars like the sun, and the regular O, B, A, F, G, K, M's are... The M's are the different ones, though. The M's are the most populous star in the entire universe. And they are somewhat solitary compared to the others. Low mass percolators. Here's a fun fact for you. The first M star to form in the universe is still around, because these stars live trillions of years. Trillions, not billions. The universe has been here 13.8 total billion years. And in that time, M stars have been forming and still continuing to go. They haven't died. And the reason is because they have what are called convective atmospheres. They actually do deep convection, where they convect, and like a boiling pot, they bring that hydrogen back down into their interior where it can fuse again. And so they have a much, much higher supply of materials than a regular star does, like our sun. Remember I said 15 to 20% on our sun? But we have a radiative envelope, that is, that it radiates out. And then when it gets farther out, it starts convection, but it goes nowhere near the core. So what's convecting outside never reaches the core. So all the stuff that's along for the ride will always be just along for the ride. Okay? So that's pretty cool. All right. All right, so let's yeah, there's Io now. And let's come out. Okay. You can see Jupiter's almost out of the field. That's okay. Yeah. Now, let's do this. Let's see if we can go to the owl. There's gonna be quite a twirl around. Actually, let me. No, the owl's really good, and I haven't seen the owl with this telescope yet. It's actually almost there because it's actually a simple, just a rotation, quick rotation in 2 axes. Here it comes. Okay. Okay, now we're going to go up to our proper gain right now of 200. All right, and let's see here. We're probably looking through clouds here, huh? I'll do 10 seconds and see. Looks like we are. I can almost see him. Okay. Well, we'll try. We'll say tools. Plates all resync and get us to. How far off are we? 1/3 of a degree. Okay, so it's gonna pull it in. You'll see this beautiful green object in here. There it is. Okay, so that's good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a 25-second photo. But first things first, we're gonna come out here, redo our guiding arrangement, and let's see if we can get a star in here. Look at that, we don't have a single star. Oh, wow. Oh well. Oh well, I guess we aren't gonna look at this right away. Yeah, we got a couple of stars in here. That's gonna be hard, but we'll try it. Okay, 25 seconds, we'll give it a shot. Watch our guider go here. This is a remnant of a star that died that's sort of like the sun, and it puffed off its outer layers after becoming a red giant. This is called the Owl Nebula. You'll see why if the photo works with the night. Yeah, this red shows that we're looking through clouds. All right, let's color correct some of that out. Do this. Bring this down. That's what's causing it right there. There we go. All right. So yeah, this is the Owl Nebula. Looks patchy because we have some clouds, but we're gonna try and work through it. Oh, I'm telling you, Jupiter was the winner tonight, man. So this is what's called a planetary nebula. The colors you're seeing are oxygen, doubly ionized oxygen, by the central star, which in this place is right there. That's actually a white dwarf in there, and that white dwarf is so hot that it's ionizing the entire envelope of elements that are outside of it. And those were, again, stuff that was outside the core, and it's stuff that was along for the ride, right? Plasma, basically. And basically, when it gets farther from the star, it can become atoms again, and the electrons can recombine with the atom's nucleus, and the element's nucleus. And then when that happens, we'll end up seeing, that the hot white dwarf will ionize that oxygen. The electron will jump off, 2 electrons in oxygen's case, and when they come back in, they cascade down to certain levels, and those certain levels that they cascade down to, then they're losing energy every time. As they lose energy, they give off the energy that they had attained when they left. And by giving off the energy, the only way that electrons can give off energy is by giving it off as light. So we see a teal green color for oxygen in particular, and for hydrogen it's the red we always see. Marianne is still with us. Hey, Marianne. I can't read that, Marianne. I'm too modest. But anyway, this is the Owl Nebula, and we are looking at it through some clouds, so we're getting a little bit of a lesser view. We do have 6 frames captured here. Look at that. So there's the white dwarf. Notice the color of the white dwarf. It's blue. Now the hottest things in the universe are blue. You know? So that's pretty neat. Ray, you should be watching him then, instead of us. So let's see what else is around out here. So if you look, we do this, you can see there's sort of a ring of red that it's going to start showing up. This again, these are clouds that we're shooting through, so we aren't getting the best view of the Owl Nebula. Well, they're not. Karen asks, what are they burning if they're blue? What's happening is oxygen atoms have, a certain number of protons, a certain number of electrons in their base state where nothing happens. But if you hit those atoms with ultraviolet radiation, then the electrons get excited and they get further and further away from the nucleus, and eventually can actually leave the atom. You know? Garlago, thank you, man. And that when they leave the atom, they're ionized. Okay, they ionize the atom. So if an atom has if an oxygen atom has a +2 charge, or then what happens is you've got 2 electrons that have left the atom because they're a -1 charge each. So if one leaves the atom, okay, like a hydrogen atom has 1 electron. That electron leaves, now you have a proton, which is a +1 charge, and nothing to balance it with a -1 charge of the electron. So now you have an ion, meaning it's a charged nucleus. And in oxygen, we get that too, but we have 2 electrons that left. So 2 -1 charges left. Okay? And so that means that when we look at if we look at a oxygen atom that is in the process of being ionized, it means that some of the electrons, when they leave the atom, they're absorbing ultraviolet energy. But when they come back in, they actually end up giving off that energy as light. And that's why we see these greenish blue colors, because oxygen has special characteristics like hydrogen. So when oxygen is ionized doubly, two electrons pop off and come back on, it gives off this bluish green light. And that's actually very important. That's actually the light that is signaling to us that it's actually O3, doubly ionized oxygen. O1 is the base state where it has all its electrons. O2 is a singly ionized oxygen atom, and O3, that is Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3. Okay, O3 is doubly ionized. We leave the 1 out when we talk about base states because there's no point in repeating that it's hydrogen 1 or oxygen 1. When we just say hydrogen and oxygen, the Roman numeral 1 is understood. You're getting an organic chemistry class tonight, I'm sorry. But hey, you know, it's stuff that you want to know. Okay. I'm going to save this. We've got 11. I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, we rejected 6 because it was having trouble guiding with the clouds. But we're doing okay, see? But we're getting some garbage data in here too. We'll have to come down to this. It's still not quite perfect, but I can save it anyway as this. Let's let me go see. Sorry about that. Let's go see something. Let's come out of here. Excuse me. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna do that. Come here and go there. And what do I try to do? Trying to get. Okay, I'm trying to get. Okay, we got 13 there. Save it. I forgot what I came in here to do. That's okay. Well, there's the owl anyway. And you can see a little bit of that red. If we weren't looking through clouds, it would be much more obvious, and this would be a little more detailed. But we've got those upper clouds right now that we're kind of in the middle of. But we'll save it at 14. Because you can still see that blue white dwarf. Hot because blue because it's hot. And let's save exactly as seen. Alright. And so if we come down here and go back to our low light mode, you won't at all see the owl. It's sort of there. You can kind of see it. Let's go back and see what else we can find real fast. What's in our neighborhood, Mr. Rogers? Well, first things first. Since Leo is coming up, and we had a request for the quartet, I don't think we're going to get to do that. We may be able to do maybe one of these. We can do M90, M105 rather, M96. Might be able to do one of those because we have a bunch. We have M95, M96. What's this? M105 might be fun. Let's do this. Yes, don't worry about that. M96. That might do it. Alright, let's try that. Let's see if we can go to M96, okay? Don't know how well we'll guide on it though, because if I recall, we didn't have a whole lot of guide stars when I've done this before, but we'll try it. There goes the telescopio. Let's come off 100% here. That's not where we want to be. Let's say fit the height. There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we can bring this back and then bring it down. Oops, that was too much. No, it wasn't. It was perfect. Okay, we'll bring it over here and then we'll come down with it. Okay, and then go the other way just to center it up. Actually, I can really easily do this by doing this. If it can figure out where we are. I didn't think so. Okay. We're good, because this will be fine. And then I'll just bring us back over. This should be just about right. The fact that I'm seeing it here shows me that we probably have enough stars here to actually see it. And I think that we'll be able to get a guide star here. So let's see if we can grab a guide star. That's the one. Alright. Alright, so we do have a guide star. That's good. Let's pull this, make it a little brighter. Okay. So now, well, we may have some wind, but we're going to see if we can do M90. Was it M95 I was on? M96. We'll see if we can do M96 tonight. All right. This will be a 35-second photo. And we're going to go into deep sky mode. Give us a nice black screen, like a chalkboard to start with. And away we go. Hope you guys are having fun tonight, because it is kind of cool hanging out with you. It's been a great time. I can see that Benson has just come out of the major clouds that we've been in, so we actually might be good right now. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We have some remnants of clouds because it's got some red stuff here. Let's do some color correction. And we're going to ride up the curve here with this to get it near the peak, but not over the peak. Here we are. And then the midline, you know, I usually bring that down to where you don't see a lot of the noise anymore. Now we're at 200 gain. If I didn't want any noise, I would set it to like 100. But that's okay. Karen's talking about the science kit. Yeah, my parents got me a chemistry set when I was a kid. And we're talking real chemistry set. I made gunpowder right away. I blew stuff up like you can't believe. Kathy, thank you. Thank you so much. It's very nice to know that people appreciate the Jupiter transit, the Io transit. Thank you so much. It's sweet. Yeah, besides gunpowder, I almost blew up my room in my bedroom in the house because I made a lot of hydrogen gas with a chemical reaction, and I ended up putting it in a test tube, and I had a Bunsen burner underneath, and it just was going and going and going. And then my mother said, "Okay, I gotta go eat." So I went eating, and when I came back, I didn't realize how long it had been in there, and I sat down, and all I did was touch the little holder holding the test tube, and that disturbed the equilibrium of whatever I had concocted in there, and it went phoom out of the top of the test tube and went right up to the ceiling, where it went splat on the ceiling. It was a brown seething mass. You know what it looked like? It looked like it looked like the creature stuck to Spock's back in that episode where they had those weird, and that show was just little plastic, bugs. But it looked like that. And it was on the ceiling, and it was hanging down. And I quickly shut my bedroom door, and the whole room smelled like sulfur and a bunch of other concoctive chemicals. And I quickly got on top of my chair, and I wiped the ceiling down, and it wasn't enough, and I had a big brown stain on the ceiling, and I knew my father was going to kill me if he saw that. So I went downstairs and I snuck a I'm not stacking here. I got to do this again. I snuck a container of white ceiling paint out of the basement, and I kind of brought it upstairs, sort of snuck it upstairs. Went in my room, shut the door, and then I ended up, oh, no wonder. We do have a cloud we're looking at. Look at this. Duh. Let's try this. Let me see if that, oh no, okay, we're good. And so I ended up getting up my chair and painting the ceiling that had just been covered with this white seething gooey mass. It was burning my eyes because it was something caustic. I didn't even know what it was. And I painted the ceiling and it looked white. Like, yes, excellent. So I brought the stuff back downstairs. I washed my hands to make sure you had all the white off me. And I went back into my room to play. My father walked in. He smelled the chemicals and said, "Hey, what's that stink?" "Oh, I was just playing with the chemistry set. Sorry about that." And he didn't look up. I was like, yes. He went back out, and he went and saw the he had to do something else. He went and did other things. He went out in the back with the pool, and he was using the strainer to take out bugs out of the pool because that was his nightly ritual. And he came back in, and by now the paint was starting to dry on the ceiling. And as I was looking at the paint on the ceiling, I noticed that the brown stain was slowly coming back. And I was like, wait a minute, no. And I thought, oh no. And so it was coming back, and it was coming back with a vengeance. And so I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I gotta fix this ceiling. He's gonna kill me. So as it turns out, he killed me. He saw it. He noticed it. "What the heck did you do?" "Dad, the chemistry said boom. I didn't know." And he took the chemistry set, shut everything, and walked out of the door with it. It's like, "No, you're taking my future away from me." Oh. So, bottom line was, this is looking like a better guide style. Let's try that. Bottom line was that I felt like, this is going to be a good thing. I'll get my chemistry set back. I'll be a good boy. And as it turns out, I got the chemistry set back. And at that time, I could go to the drugstore and replenish chemicals because the drugstore actually had chemicals. I could walk in and I would say to Paul, the guy at the drugstore, "Yeah, hi, Paul, I need some ammonium hydroxide." He said, "Oh, Marky, what are you making?" I said, "I don't know. I'll find something." "Oh, okay. Well, be careful. It's toxic." "Okay, no problem." And he gave me a paper bag with a little Ziploc, and it would have the ammonium hydroxide in it. Then he asked for other chemicals. "Got some methylene blue?" "Okay, don't get it on your clothes. Your mom will kill you." "Okay, thanks, Paul." And then I go to the front of the store and pay for it. It was all like $5, and I used my allowance money to buy these chemicals. And I went home and I started making stuff. And I did follow some of the routines, but one of the things that I learned how to do very effectively was to make hydrogen gas. This was important. I wanted to use hydrogen gas, and I wanted to make sure that I could I actually wanted to build a Hindenburg and recreate the Hindenburg. And to do that, I needed to be able to learn how to make hydrogen gas because I wanted to do it right. So I did it, and it consisted of Drano, sodium hydroxide, which I got from him. It was a fine powder from him, but in Drano they're crystals. And so the sodium hydroxide goes in water, but it has to act on something, so I mixed it into hot water, and then I threw in metal shavings from the place next door, which does or did milling and stuff, and so they had big giant 55-gallon drums full of this stuff. So I made hydrogen gas on my table in my room, and I tested it by putting a test tube over it, letting it fill up, and then taking a match and putting it under the mouth of the test tube, and it went phew, and it made that whistle. It's like, yes, I got my hydrogen. So what I ended up doing was, this is not enough. I need more industrial strength. I got a glass water jug for like the water coolers, and I put it out in the backyard. I was going to make a still that makes hydrogen gas, but I needed to fill something with the hydrogen gas. So I figured, I know, lightweight clothing bags, the ones you get at a laundromat. They're really, really lightweight. Well, it just so happened that my father owned a laundromat. He washed other people's dirty clothes for a living. And he did a very good job at it. So he built the business, and we're doing well now with our stacks, by the way. And he made a beautiful business of actually washing people's clothes. And when he did it, he ended up, putting them in a clothing bag. Well, I went down there and said, Dad, can I work for $1 an hour? Sure. So I was folding towels and stuff, because he also worked for the schools in the locker rooms. He would walk to the locker rooms and pick up filthy towels. Okay, I tell you, a hell of a guy, in all honesty. And so I ended up saying, "Hey, can I have some of these clothing bags, Dad?" He said, "Oh, yeah. How many you want? 20? No. Whoa, no. I'll give you 3." And he gave me 3. So I tried filling one whole bag, and after a full day, it didn't even look like it had any hydrogen in it. It did, but it didn't look it. So I cut them in half and made little pillows out of them, and I put those on my still. And those filled in about 4 hours. Ooh. Nice and thick, too. And when you let them go, they'd fly. All right? So I ended up tying them to the ground and then testing out how pure the hydrogen was by trying to blow up the balloons in the middle of the empty lot next to my house. And every time I blew one up, it would rattle windows in the neighborhood. It would be a loud kawoom. And the police would come every single time, because somebody called the police every time I did it. Every time. Can you imagine that? And then when I would look at the purity of the hydrogen, it wasn't pure enough. It had a lot of water vapor in the pillow. And so I had to get rid of it. So I went in and I said to my mom, "Mom, do we have any milk?" Look in the refrigerator. I look in the refrigerator, half a gallon. Oh, I need that jug. So I drank some milk, poured the rest down the sink. I know. I was a hellion. Okay. So I took that jug. "Ma, do you have any cotton in the bathroom? Don't use it all. I need it for my makeup." Okay. I go in there. I took it all. Stuffed it into the jug. Then I took that jug outside, and I attached the nozzle end, where you unscrew the milk opening, to a tube coming out of my still. Okay, out of the glass bottle. And then at the top of that jug, through all the cotton, I had another tube coming out. And the cotton, you see, was a moisture trap. It was going to trap all the water. And I poked a little hole in the bottom of the jug. And all day long, I'd see drip, 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 drip. I'd see the water coming out, knowing that we're working. Well, that gave me nice dry hydrogen. And the clothing bag didn't steam up. And water weighs a lot. So I ended up filling the bags. And now hydrogen also is very, and I didn't know this as a kid, but hydrogen is a very quick, well, what's the word? High rate of osmosis through thin plastic. So you have to keep filling it right to the last second before you're going to use it. So my thoughts of making a hydrogen, dirigible model that I could blow up in the lot, which is what I was going to do, vanished. And I thought, well, I'll just blow up hydrogen balloons for the summer. And I mean explode them. you know. So I would put them on the ground, and I would, weigh them down with a rope and a rock. And so they'd float in the air. And so I started by shooting flaming arrows at them. I had a little Cowboys and Indians thing, took the suction cup off, sharpened up the stick on the end, and dipped the tip in gas and shot it at the balloon. And the balloon was floating in the air, so the arrow, even though it was sharp, just pushed the balloon out of the way and kept going. Okay? Well, I shot 3 arrows at this thing, and it didn't blow up. So I was really mad. Not even noticing that the arrows, burning arrows, headed into the lot, to the grass, and was starting a grass fire in the yard, in the open lot next to my house. And I didn't even notice that until I started to see this weird bluish smoke. Like, what's that? I realized, that the grass is black. Oh no! So I went and I started to pop, trying to put out the fire, and I kept doing that over and over and over until I put it all out, ruined my sneakers, melted the soles. My mother, what happened to your shoes? I don't know, Ma. It's pretty hot out. You know. So this is looking pretty. We'll talk about this in a sec. So anyway, I ended up making several balloons and shooting several sets of arrows at them, and I went through too many arrows before I got a fortuitous strike that would pierce the thing. And pure hydrogen doesn't burn. Okay, it needs oxygen. So when you pierce the skin of a balloon, the hydrogen starts to flow out. Oxygen starts to flow in. All right, oxygen is more dense than hydrogen, and now I know this, but I didn't know this as a kid. Well, you want to make sure that the Rayleigh-Taylor process is taking place. You want to make sure that the dense stuff is flowing in as the lighter stuff is flowing out, and where that mixing occurs, you have flammability because you have oxygen. So that Rayleigh-Taylor instability is the thing that will allow that to happen with two gases of different densities. Don't worry about it. It's not on the test. When it came out, it would mix, and suddenly the oxygen would go boom, and you get a big fireball, and it would be loud again, And so every time the cops would come, they'd come into the neighborhood every single time. I had a basketball ready. I was just banging the basketball in the driveway, and the cops would say, "You've been hearing noises?" I said, "Yeah, some big boom. Where's it coming from?" "Over there." And they point, All right. Yeah, I wasn't a saint. Well, anyway, I had an experiment to do, okay? So I ended up trying very hard to make sure that I got the biggest possible balloon I could get, because I knew that the summer was coming to an end. My hydrogen making still was running 24 hours a day for 2 months. The bottle was so hot you could not touch it. The rubber stopper, the rubber chemistry stopper stuffed in the opening, which is with the 2 holes coming out of it. One was a vent. Those 2 holes were melting. Okay, so now the stopper was melted to the top of the bottle. These rubber stoppers are made for high temperatures, and I exceeded them. The grass was singed around the base of this thing from the outside from extended exposure. So I made a giant balloon. I mean, a big balloon. I said, I got to do a whole clothing bag. And now that I had the moisture trap, I added a second one of those to even dry the hydrogen out more. I ended up filling that bag, and it only took me about 6 hours to do it. I tied it off at the end, put a string on it, weighted it down in the lot with a rock, shot the arrows. Nothing. It kept moving out of the way. The arrows pushed out of the way before they could go through it. I sharpened them as sharp as I could, and it still pushed it out of the way. It had to do with the low density of the hydrogen inside the bag. The bag was actually easily bendable and flexible, so it was very hard to pierce the bag with even a sharp point. So, that said, the low density inside, though, belied how powerful that was, and I found out, because I said, you know what, the heck with these arrows. I got a stick. Okay, one of the arrows. I dipped it in gas, poked it into the gas, and poked it into the balloon. All right, and it was again moving out of the way. So I kind of got closer to the balloon, and I poked it really hard. I'm this far away from this bomb, and the last thing I remember is hearing this. It wasn't a weather balloon. It was a clothing bag from a laundry. The last thing I remember is hearing this hissing sound, followed by a shpoof. And then I was on the ground, and my head was hurting. I got knocked to the ground and hit my head on the ground really hard. And I got up, and I was like, wow, that was so cool. Ow, my head. And I looked around the lot, and I'm surrounded by fire. What? And I said, my first thought, my mother's going to kill me. So I get up, and I start stomping out the fire with the new sneakers I had on. Yes, I ruined those too. And I finally got the fire out. But this time I heard sirens. Because now I was afraid somebody called the fire department because they might have seen the fire. So I ended up, I'll answer that in a second, Karen. I ended up going out in the backyard before the fire was completely out. There was some smoke, and the police came, and they didn't see the fire. Luckily, didn't. So they by now it was like dusk, and they had their light, and they're shining it around. They didn't see the little smoke plume from the still burning fire, and it was sort of behind a mound. They couldn't see the flame, so they left. And I ran back out there and put it out with sand and anything else I could get my hands on. And but the thing was, I had dirt in my hair because when the thing blew up, the shockwave blew dirt and stuff into my face, and so I had dirt all over my face. I had in my hair, shaking my hair would come out. Okay, I had it embedded in my skin. It was such a powerful explosion. Wow. And my first thought was, I got to do this again. But this time, I'll be smarter. I'll use a longer stick. So I had my still perfected. So I did another clothing bag. And I filled it up more. And this time I went like 10 hours. I started it at like 8 in the morning. I didn't stop until like evening because I wanted to see the flash. Oh, yeah. And besides, that would cover me up. If that would cover up any problems. So it got much more dense inside there. So I had probably twice as much hydrogen pressurizing this bag as before. And oh boy, what a I gotta tell you, this time I used a stick that was longer. I used an actual branch. Okay, it had to be like 8 feet long. And it was tough to get it to dip into the, gas. I used gas without it breaking. But I lit the end with a little lighter. And then I approached the balloon. And this time I wasn't going to poke it. I was just going to let it burn through. And on second thought, that may have been a mistake. Just a little one. Because when I did that... Again, the last thing I remember was this ultra bright flash going right toward my face and feeling this heat wave hitting my face and getting hit like a rock in my chest with a shock wave. And it went fa-boom! And it just, again, knocked me right down. Okay? And now I got back up. And I saw the flash, but I never got to see the plume after because I was on the ground already. And so when I got up, I went, wow, and I went like this, and my eyebrows were gone. It's like, where'd the eyebrows go? Oh, no. I didn't have hair on my face, of course, so my eyebrows are gone. Okay, I never looked at my hair. My hair was singed. I had little, when the hair gets burned, it makes a little strands with a knot on the end, little tiny round thing. I had a bunch of hair like that. I had to get rid of that before I showed my mother, so I was pulling it out. Oh my gosh. And I just messed up my hair so no one could tell. So I ended up going back into the backyard, and thinking, maybe it's best if I just shut this still down. So then that became a week of trying to figure out how to shut it off. It's like a nuclear reactor in meltdown. Once you start adding, once the sodium hydroxide's in there, it's going to go for days and days and days. So I basically had to let it just go. So I would, by this point, I'm back in school. I'd come home, quickly run out in the backyard. Okay, it's not melting down or anything. Okay. I tilted it with what's that called? A shovel handle. And I put aluminum foil under it so that it wouldn't, like, burn the grass. And that was very effective. Yeah, so it burned out after about 2 weeks. But it was still too hot to touch for another at least 5 to 8 days, if I remember right. It was about total 10 days of time before I could actually touch the bottom of the bottle again. It was so hot. All the water had been nearly evaporated, but it was much more concentrated at the bottom, so the reaction was much more vicious. So I was worried I was going to melt the glass, to be honest. And it never melted the glass. It changed its color. And I think it changed the shape of the bottle, but I couldn't really tell. So, that's who your astronomer is. I'm just a little bit, on the unhinged side sometimes. Wow, look at this beautiful. This is gorgeous. We've got 30 images here. And look at that. Wow, let's color correct that. Get the color correct. Oh, yeah. Let's zoom in. Okay, that's got a little too much green. Got to remove the green. That's good. Okay, so we are again at 200 gain, so we do have a lot of noise left in there. So we come down here, and this makes it more tenable to see it this way. I also have this on, unsharp mask. If I turn that off, that might be better. Yeah, that works for this one better. You can see the differences in the dust color here. You can see how it's darker and then lighter on the edges. Wow. That's cool. Hey, maybe in the next stream I'll talk to you about my Estes model rocket days. Almost burning down a neighbor's house. Oh boy. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I had pre-made bombs in my hand with those. Oh, those are great. I turned them into stump removal services. Wow, this is pretty. Yeah. Alright, we're going to save this here with 32. Save exactly as seen. That's beautiful. We see the blue stars of the disk region of the galaxy. Those are the hot young stars. Yeah. Hey, in my high school class, we studied what's called the ballistic pendulum. You know what we did? When you hit if you have a block of wood hanging from string, and you hit it with a hammer, how do you know how much force you use to hit it? Well, you can actually figure that out. And the ballistic pendulum project allows you to do that. And that is Sally Forth. That's funny. So, but they can mute it. They can watch the pretty pictures. They don't have to hear it. So in our school, to make the ballistic pendulum work, our physics guy, Richard Coe, friend of mine to this day, he was an incredible guy. He believed in showing it right. So what did we use? We used a .22 pistol, and we would hold it in the open end, and we'd fire it into this thing. And using the weight of the mass and projectile speed, we could calculate what kind of force of impact struck that block of wood. And that was the ballistic pendulum. And the pendulum had, when it moved, it would move a little indicator showing how much it moved. And that measurement was very important to figuring out what struck it and what the force was. Now you might say, well, what good is that? Well, it comes in handy when you're trying to calculate things like impact energies of asteroids striking the Earth. See, so that's very important. So it does have real world potential. We'll save this here at 35 and move on. I'm sure you want me to move on anyway. You're like, come on, man, stop talking. Just show us pretty pictures. That's great. M96. All right. Now we'll go back here and bring that up. Okay, and now let's back out. All right, there's our full size. Let's go to a different thing if we can in here. I'm not gonna do M95. I like it, but I'm not gonna do it. How about here? Well, these will all show up in here. Yeah, these will all show up. M105, 3384, and 3389. Let's see though. Nah, those will be kind of boring. I'm gonna show you something cool. The Leo triplet is cool, and let's see how high. 35 degrees. Okay, that might work. Let's try it. You'll watch the telescope kind of angle over now, come over the top. It's really close. There it is. All right, let's bring it in. Let's get our Space Ghost telescope working here. Going the wrong way, Feldman. That's better. All right, and because we did the calculation for it already, we probably can do this and see what's there right away. Yeah, we can. It's M66, and if we look at M66, that's this guy, the Leo triplet, and we want to look at the hamburger later. We can't. I don't know if we can. We're only gonna be able to see one because that's the size of our field. But this one's really pretty. So let's center this guy up. It's a bigger galaxy. Nice. All right. Let's do this again. Yeah, it's gonna center it up. And let's center it into view. Okay. And I'll move it upwards a little. Let's go upward. Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream tonight. I'm having fun admitting all my childhood transgressions. Okay, this will be good. Okay, let's go and grab ourselves a guide star if we can grab one here. Ah, we got one. Excellent. If I do this, we should be able to grab that one star. Let's do that. And say, do that. That's a perfect star. Excellent. So let it settle down and recenter the centroid of the image. Okay, let's try this now and do another 35-second shot. Kathy Pernisic, how you doing? Good night. Thank you for coming. Good to see you. And Garlago says, I don't mind the unhinged. Thank you. Lazy Duke says, recreate it. Do it again. And YouTube it live. Yeah. I actually thought about making another set of hydrogen balloons, but using a more proper method. Let's see what we got here. Oh, look at that. That's going to be a beautiful image. Yeah, Karen, you mean what's the blur? What blur where? This is a galaxy. This is measure 66. If we bring this up, you'll see where it is. And we're going to say make that the target name, which it is already. Hey Rock, what's going on, man? Ronald says, I had a rocket named Big Bertha. Yeah, I had Big Bertha. We all had Big Bertha. Big Bertha was great. Oh, excellent, Lazy Duke. Alright, so let's go back to our histogram where we can modify our values. Yeah. You can start to see these spiral arms here on this. And if we move this in a little bit and take our black level, climb the slope. The white is the average of the red, green, and blue curves. We start to get our contrast. You can see the dark dust in there. Well, that dark dust is the same kind of dust that we see in the Orion Nebula that we showed earlier. It's all throughout our galaxy. In fact, in Orion, there's so much dust there that it hides a significant amount of what we see in Orion. So Kevin O'Neill's with us. Hey Kevin, welcome. Glad you made it. Glad you made it, man. Don't worry, you don't need to get a hall pass. It's all good. So we got 4 stacked here. For those joining us after we started, when I first started up, everything was fine, and then the cameras just disappeared. So I had to, I guess, reinitialize them, and I had to reboot the whole computer out there. And we did it online, and everybody got to see the setup, you know, setting it up. And so this, all the placement of everything, they got to see, which is cool. Let's make sure that we're still going. Look at this. After 6 images, look how we can start to see the detail inside of this. Look at that. You know, when you look, you can see these beautiful spiral dark lanes, they're called, inside here. These dark lanes are the dark dust that is the product of many supernovae that have expelled dust, made it in their outer atmospheres of the stars before they went supernova, and it got all pushed out. Now, to understand how much dust is there, you have to understand that there have been billions of supernovae that have occurred over time, probably in this galaxy. And that's a lot of supernovae. And one star, you can't even see one star in here. But billions of stars would actually make it so that you could see dust from a long distance like this one. Now, how far away is this? Let's go see. Okay, this is measure 66. Its distance is 35 million light years. Okay, so it's 35 million light years. And what's interesting about that is that when the light left this to come here, we were already, the dinosaurs had already been rendered extinct. And it was 35 million years ago. See? And there were no humans on Earth at that point. No apes in Olduvai Gorge in Africa. And so it was one of those cases where we had more tectonic activity shaping our world again, moving it more toward what we know going on than anything else. We also had lots of life forms, lots of creatures, okay? But 35 million years ago, we started to see creatures that would eventually resemble what we're used to seeing. But when the light you're seeing right now left that galaxy, that's what was going on our planet at that time. If you had a telescope on a planet in this galaxy, and you looked here, you'd see our world as it was 35 million years ago. So whatever was going on the Earth, that's what you would see. Look at that, huh? That's beautiful. Those beautiful spiral arms. Really obvious spiral arms. I'm going to check and see if this is a barred spiral. It is. Okay, and the difference. A normal spiral like the Andromeda Galaxy has a swirling sets of spiral arms. But then a barred spiral has an extended nucleus like this does. Okay, and then the spiral arms come off of the end. So here goes one, and then here goes another. See, it's like a quick fish hook, right? That's what we see here. This one goes here and up and over. This one goes here, up and over and down. And that's what we see when we look here. Is we're actually watching that spiral. Now, the question is that we're still looking at it through light clouds, sorry. The question is, are we what's actually going on? Is that thing actually rotating? And the answer is yes. It is rotating. The galaxy is rotating, and it's rotating in the direction you think it's rotating. Okay, so it's going this way in the image as you see there. Okay, and the spiral arms aren't winding up. And for the time this galaxy's been around, which is billions of years, these spiral arms would have already wound up tight if it didn't have a weird thing going on, because Mercury goes around the sun very fast because it's very close to it and has to go faster to maintain its orbit. Pluto takes well over 200 years to go around the sun, and it's nice and lazy because it's so far away it can go slower. So in a galaxy, it's the same thing. Stars closer to the center go faster around the nucleus than stars farther out. They should go slower. But the universe doesn't like us. And so what it shows us is that the stars farther out in the galaxy, although they lag behind a little bit, they don't lag behind enough. So something is sort of tugging them along and keeping them all going, almost like a rigid disk. And that rigid disk nature of galaxies is something that was a conundrum for a long time. And they figured out that what's happening is there's another form of matter here. And this other form of matter is actually creating like a come-along system where it's actually pulling the outer mass along, not fully, enough to allow the spiral arms to lag behind a little bit over time. But it's not a full rigid disk either, but it's actually pulling along somewhat. So the thing that we came up with for that in the astronomy world is dark matter. Okay? They thought there has to be dark matter that would cause the galaxies to be tugged along. Now, what is dark matter? It's not dark because it's black. It's dark because we don't know what it is. Normal matter, like everything you see here, is called baryonic matter. It's made of atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons, muons, gluons, quarks, and so on. Okay, and the baryons don't seem to account for what's helping keep galaxies spinning. So there's some kind of invisible dark matter that works in a very mysterious way, according to the current theory. Now, is that really what's going on? I don't know. Now, that's not dark energy. It's dark matter. Dark energy, on the other hand, is what we notice when we look at distant galaxies. We see that as the universe is expanding, which we know it is, as it expands, it's actually getting faster and faster and faster. It's accelerating outward faster. Like when my hydrogen balloons blow up, the explosion accelerates outward initially, and then it reaches a steady state where it then slows down. And that we're 13.8 billion years after the beginning of the universe. we're still accelerating outward. That changes a lot of things. It changes the known size of the universe. It changes our understanding of how galaxies form and when they form. It changes almost every tenet of cosmology that we came to understand. So, what do we do with that knowledge? Okay, well, what happens, I'm sorry, I'm getting in the way here. What happens is when we look at our cosmological beliefs and how the universe began, we had to figure out a way that we could explain why matter is being propelled away from all other matter out there. Now, I have a model for how the universe is expanding, which is very intuitive, so you can see it. I'll tell you. You take a balloon and blow it up, about that big. Say it's a big balloon. You blow it up a little bit, and then take a Sharpie and put black dots all over it. Now, all the dots are really close together. When you continue blowing up the balloon, as you do, you'll notice that every single Sharpie dot is moving away from every other Sharpie dot. Okay? That's the expansion of the universe in a layer, one layer. Now imagine that in 3 dimensions. Okay, that's the hard part. But that analogy shows you what we see happening. Every object out there is moving away from every other object, but it's not going at a constant rate. It's going at an accelerating rate. And the constant rate we could understand. Hubble in the 1920s came up with the Hubble's constant, which was the expansion rate of the universe. Okay, and it was interesting because, as it turns out, Hubble's constant isn't. It's not constant. You know, the Planck telescope and other sensors and other analysis showed that the Hubble constant is changing, and that change means acceleration. So we had to figure out something that could explain acceleration. So I would see some cosmologists scratching their heads going, hey, Frank, I don't know what to do here. What do you want to come up with? I don't know, maybe some energy of some kind? Well, it's energy we don't understand. Maybe, well, like dark matter. We'll call it dark energy. Alright, that's good enough. I don't know that's how that went, but I'm just being comical. But the dark energy explains how the universe could be accelerating outward, because it's a repulsive force. And all they're doing is they're seeing the visual clues of everything moving away at an accelerating speed, and figuring that if we throw this factor in there called dark energy, which may not even really be there, we might just be looking at dark energy and or looking at this expansion, this outward expansion, acceleration, and saying, hey, maybe this is something we'll call dark energy, and say this is responsible for it. Until we know what it is, we can at least work numbers and figure out stuff, because this is sort of a placeholder. And they're already talking about there may not be a need for dark energy anymore, which is good, because I never really bought it, to be honest. But so the dark energy can explain why galaxies, very distant galaxies, are accelerating away and repelling from each other. So we have a way to fudge our understanding of the acceleration and the expansion of the universe. And that's kind of what it is. I'm not happy with the analogy, okay, but you know, that's how it is. My analogy of the expanding universe, though, with the balloon with spots on it, you should try it and see. And basically, just a little latex party balloon, blow it up a little bit, draw it with a Sharpie, then explain it and say, watch, kids, and you say, watch the dots, or adults, because adults need to understand too. And when you blow it up, you say that every dot's moving away from every other dot, because that's a hard concept to understand. How could everything be moving away from everything else? Especially in a 3D universe where you got stuff here, 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 here. How could it all be moving away from everything else? Well, it moves outward, and it's repelling everything else around it, and so therefore, the dark energy is responsible for that. Now, here's the weird thing. Well, Mark, that's not true. The Andromeda Galaxy is heading for us. We're not moving away from the Andromeda Galaxy. That's correct. That is correct. And so what it means is that dark energy is at play at a massive universal scale, not at the galaxy group scale, like a local group of galaxies. All right, and so we have to partition it. Now, someone who knows a lot about dark energy just left a message in the chat, and that's Curtis Horn. If you sent me the email recently, I didn't see it yet, but if it's the one you sent me a while ago, I did. And I know that you were going to be dealing with dark energy too, Curtis. Curtis is a genius. He's a great guy. So if you I'd love to get it again though, because I did lose all my email. Unfortunately, I was getting 4,000 emails a day, and they were all undeliverable. I was being subjected to a spoofing spam. It's over now. They moved on, thankfully, but I lost those emails. If you send it to me again, I'd love to read it. So that said, dark energy and dark matter are two things we don't understand. Will they be around in 15 years, 20 years? Probably not. There's going to be changes. There might be, thank you, Curtis. There might be some things that, actually, Curtis, send it to contactskytour@gmail.com. If you can't, I mean, you can put the link in, I know, but, oh, there's the link there. I gotcha. Thank you. I'm going to copy it right now. All right. I opened it in a new window, so actually, that's good. Unified quaternionic field theory, a covariant mechanism for inertia and solitonic matter. Cool. I will check it out. Thanks, man. So, as we said, oh yeah, Lazy Duke. Actually, that's one of what you just said. My theory is, Lazy Duke says, my theory is the universe is being pulled apart like a balloon in a vacuum. That actually is interesting, because one of the theories that I initially was looking at was the possibility that there was an outer boundary to the universe, and on the outside of that boundary was something that was actually pulling everything inside of the boundary toward it, and on all sides that would do what we're talking about effectively. But I don't know how it works. I mean, was the acceleration higher near those boundaries and lower near the other areas? So that's a very good, a very prescient point. I'd love to hear that. Yeah. And then Donald Kunzer says, by the way, we're up to 32 images, and this is really looking beautiful. Really pleased with this. And could it be something as simple as everything is the same magnetic field, everything's north and south, so it's all repelling? That would actually confuse a lot of physics, Donald. So it's not exactly. I know where you're going, all right, but it's hard to say that it's a magnetic field. It's an electric field, because magnetic fields are products of something else, as are electric fields, and they're related very heavily to each other. So, our electric field generated in the dynamo in our core, for instance, is the reason we have a magnetic field. Okay, our magnetosphere is generated by electrical current flowing by the two different core materials, the outer core and the inner core material, rotating against each other, like your feet rubbing on a carpet. It generates current, and that current has to go somewhere, so it goes into, basically, in a simplified way, charging the planet. And when it charges up the planet, it actually goes into being a magnetic field. Okay, there's a lot of rules to discuss how that happens, but it becomes a magnetic field. So anytime you have an electric field, you have a magnetic field. Okay, and vice versa. So, and changing magnetic fields are also something that affect electric fields too. We call it magnetic flux. But anyway, that is actually pretty much where I'm probably gonna stop there. Okay, dark energy comes out in Appendix C. It wasn't trying to solve it, but it just came out when he did the Schwarzschild solution in unified quaternionic field theory. I got the Schwarzschild de Sitter solution by surprise. Oh, cool. Oh, I can't wait to see it, man. Can't wait to see it. You gonna be a contact in the desert in May, June, or late May, early June? If you are, we gotta have to get together. Okay, we got 36 here. I'm gonna save this. Save as Zachary as seen. Excellent. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's see where it wants to process. Yeah, it wants to do that. I don't want to bring it that close initially because we are looking through light clouds. But it's still working though. So we're gonna say we're good with that, and that's excellent. Now it's also somewhat low to the horizon, so that's part of the other problem. Let's go see if we can do one more. Let's see here. Those are close. Let's zoom out of this. We may not. Well, actually, I think we should do this because this will be up pretty high. Yeah. This is Thor's helmet. We'll close tonight with this object. Alright. And the telescope is on its way. Here it comes. And so should be right around here. Kind of looks like it might be here. Let me just do a 10-second shot. I could probably just do this too and figure it out. Do this guy. No, it's not there. That's okay. I can figure out where it is. Wow, look at that. The wind caused that. Oh, that's pretty. Let's do this. Okay. All right, so now all right, so there it is right there. I can see it now, I think. All right, so yeah, we're bouncing around out there, that's for sure. Yeah, we're getting the wind in our faces right now out there, I'll tell you. Let's do... We may not be able to do this tonight because it's starting to get bad out there. I'm doing a quick 10-second shot to see if this actually is... I think I see it right here. Yeah, it's there. Okay. Yeah, our wind is not going to allow this to happen, so we can't do our last object. I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, that said, we did have a good run tonight. So I am going to close up for now because We don't want too much wind affecting our telescope. Alright, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into park mode here. So the telescope is now going to park itself. There it goes. It's going to flip all the way over. Hope you guys had a good time tonight. This was a lot of fun. Well, we're getting wind tonight, or else I would have done something like the Rosette Donald. Sorry. And, you know, wind is kind of the enemy out there because it also can cause problems with the optics, and you don't want to sandblast your optics. You know? Alright, so we are parked now. And so we can disconnect. Alright. Now we're going to do this. We're going to shut this down. We can shut this down. Yes, that's okay. Unfortunately, we can't do it. I wish I wanted to do Thor's helmet for you tonight, but we can't. Okay. So now, next step is we're going to shut off power. So power is now off to the system out there. And we can now close the top and be done for the evening. There she goes. Just can't get over it. It's like, you know, if you're standing here, you're going, it's automatically happening. Oh, well. So this was a good night. Let's do one last thing here. I'm going to take this camera and let's move this out of the way. Let's go there, do that, do this, and do that. Now let's take this guy, and what I'd like to show you is the quality of the sky. You can kind of see it with this system. It's pretty cool. These cameras are not bad. So we're gonna look at the sky here. Well, first thing I'm gonna do, however, is I'm gonna turn off my night IR lights. Okay, and then come back and move out of there, and then we can look up in the sky. There you go. There's Orion. You can see Orion over there. All right. Here it is, the belt. Orion's belt right here. There's the Andromeda. There's the Orion Nebula. We did a study there tonight. Orion's belt is here. The horse head is right here with a flame nebula here. Then we have Casper the Friendly Ghost Nebula here. You can't see it. Rosette's right about there. Thor's helmet is somewhere over here. And it's actually pretty cool. So this actually, these cameras are really fairly sensitive. They're in the summer months. You can see the summer Milky Way. You know, so that's pretty neat. I just thought I'd show you that. Okay. In any case, I hope that you guys had a good night. And I did. I thought I had a great time with you guys. And we will do this again on another clear night. Thanks for coming out. And I look forward to seeing you all again. Remember to share, subscribe, like, please. And if you have a mind, you can support us with our Patreon up there. You can go to skytourlive.org. And we'd love to hear from you. Even if it's just to say hi. We don't expect anything, but if you can help us, that's great. All right. Thank you guys for the donations received tonight. That's fantastic. Love you all. And I will see you next time around. Good night, everybody.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming live for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views, every night feels brand